Have you ever wondered why some people walk alone, not because they're unloved, but because they were being prepared? Why the quiet ones carry battles inside them, yet never complain? Why some men are stripped of comfort before they rise into clarity? It's not punishment, it's formation. And those who are willing to face the silence, the rejection, the long road, are the ones who will see truth in its purest form. Because the path of the chosen is not lined with applause. It's carved through loneliness, discipline, and rebirth. Life doesn't choose the strongest first. It chooses the willing. If you have ever felt like you don't fit anywhere, maybe it's because you're not meant to fit. You're meant to build. The misfit in you isn't a flaw. It's a signal, a quiet reminder that your soul is made for something larger than comfort. This is not about religion. It's about awakening. And in this journey, you'll see why the strongest souls are often the ones who walk through darkness and came back carrying light. The calling that others don't hear. You feel it before you understand it. A quiet tension inside you. Everyone around you seems satisfied, chasing the same small comforts, but something in you keeps whispering, there must be more. You smile at parties, but your mind drifts. You hit goals that others celebrate and feel nothing. You're not broken, you're awakening. You start noticing how noise drains you, how gossip feels like poison, how the world worships comfort while your soul aches for truth. That ache isn't weakness, it's direction. The Stoics called it nature recalling you to yourself. Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly." And maybe that's why your awakening feels slow. It's meant to be built, not rushed. The calling doesn't scream, it whispers. It hides in restless nights, in friendships that fade, in moments when life feels too small for the size of your spirit. And when you finally stop pretending you're fine, you realize this discomfort isn't the end, it's the doorway. But awakening has a cost. When you start seeing clearly, you start walking alone. People pull back, conversations dry out. They call you distant. They can't see you're not withdrawing, you're returning home. You're unlearning the noise that kept you numb. You're rebuilding peace without permission. And that kind of clarity scares people who still live in fog. You'll try to explain, they won't understand. You'll want to bring them along. They'll refuse. And that's when it hurts, because the first step of purpose is always separation. The path of the set apart never begins in comfort. It begins in exile. But exile isn't punishment. It's refinement. It strips away every false thing you leaned on. It forces you to build strength from silence. It teaches you to trust the compass within, the one that never lies, even when the world does. So if you feel misunderstood, distant, or alone, don't run from it. You're not being left behind. You're being prepared. That preparation doesn't happen in visions. It happens in long mornings, unpaid efforts, and quiet persistence. Silence shapes insight. Rejection refines vision. You're not drifting. You're being directed. Because the man who learns to walk alone learns to walk anywhere. And that's how every chosen one begins. Alone doesn't mean abandoned. A man sits in a quiet room, no notifications, no footsteps, no one calling his name. The air feels heavy, not from noise, but from absence. And yet, this is where strength begins. Loneliness is not the wound, it's the workshop. It's where you learn to build yourself from silence. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And mastery begins when you stop fearing your own company. At first, solitude feels cruel. You wonder if life has forgotten you. You check your phone, nothing. You scroll through faces that once felt familiar. Now they blur like memories. But that silence isn't proof you're forgotten. It's proof you're being remembered differently. You were never built to echo the crowd. Solitude isn't the absence of people. It's the presence of your truest self. It's life pulling you away from noise so you can finally hear your own voice. When you're surrounded by people, you borrow their emotions. You react instead of reason. You confuse attention for connection. But when you stand alone, everything false begins to fall away. You start seeing who truly cares. You start feeling what's truly yours. Solitude doesn't break you. It cleans you. It rinses comparison from your mind and expectation from your heart. It teaches the rarest art of all, how to be whole without being surrounded. There's a detox that comes before peace. At first, it feels like emptiness. You'll reach for distraction and find no comfort. You'll feel hollow, but that's not loss. It's clearing. It's your spirit making room for clarity. One morning, you'll wake up and stop waiting for a message that never comes. You'll stop explaining your silence. You'll stop chasing people who left when you fell quiet. And suddenly the quiet won't hurt anymore. It will heal. You'll begin to hear your rhythm again. You'll feel your own company as enough. Being alone isn't being abandoned. It's being reclaimed. It's life saying, I need you to myself for a while. Because before life can trust you with others, it must see if you can stand with yourself. So if the nights feel long and the room feels too big, don't panic. Don't fill it with noise. You're not forgotten. You're in training. You're being taught the highest form of strength, to sit with your own soul and still feel at peace. The world calls it loneliness. The wise call it alignment. And once you master it, you'll never fear silence again. Because silence will no longer feel empty. It will feel like home. If this part spoke to you, if you've ever carried that kind of silence, tell me in the comments. Your story might be the reminder another man needs tonight. And if these words help you breathe a little easier, share them so someone else can too. The weight of awareness. The moment your mind wakes up, the world stops feeling simple. You start seeing through smiles that aren't sincere. You notice manipulation where others see kindness. You sense emptiness behind success. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Awareness is a gift wrapped in discomfort. It makes you sharper, but heavier. Because when your eyes open, your heart starts carrying what others ignore. You no longer find joy in illusions, only in truth. And truth by nature is quiet. The Stoics warned us about this kind of sight. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If anyone can show me I am wrong, I will gladly change, for I seek the truth." Awareness for the wise isn't arrogance. It's humility sharpened by truth. They said the wise man doesn't suffer less. He simply suffers consciously. He feels every weight but doesn't let it rule him. You begin to understand that maturity isn't numbness. It's the strength to hold pain without becoming bitter. Sometimes you'll envy those who don't see what you see, how easily they laugh, how lightly they live. But remember, lightness without awareness is blindness. You were not meant to walk unaware. You were meant to walk awake. Awareness cuts through illusion like lightning. It burns false comfort, false friends, false versions of yourself. It demands that you stop living half asleep. And though it hurts, that pain is sacred. It's the price of vision. There's a quiet grief that comes with seeing clearly. You start to recognize how much of life is built on pretending, how people hide behind success to avoid themselves, how love is often traded for validation. And you'll feel alone in that knowing, like the only one hearing a frequency no one else can hear. But awareness isn't isolation, it's initiation. It's life inviting you into honesty, even when honesty costs you belonging. It's the beginning of real peace, not the performance of it. The Stoics understood that sight without wisdom can destroy a man. That's why they practiced stillness, to let the truth settle before acting. So when awareness overwhelms you, don't run. Sit with it. Let it rearrange you. Let it teach you how to see without despair. And when it's done, you'll start to notice something powerful. The noise of the world no longer controls you. You no longer chase attention because you've tasted clarity. You no longer fear rejection because you've found direction. And you no longer hide from silence because it speaks the truth you were searching for all along. Awareness makes life heavier, yes, but it also makes you unshakable. Because once you've seen truth, even pain feels cleaner than illusion. Rejection is the hidden hand of direction. Rejection cuts deep. It makes you question your worth, your path, even your identity. You reach out, and they pull away. You give your best, and they turn it cold. But what if rejection isn't the end? What if it's redirection in disguise? The Stoics said, "What blocks the way becomes the way." Every door that closed was a quiet act of mercy. Life doesn't remove people to hurt you, it removes them to protect you. The people who left were not your punishment, they were your preparation. If Joseph had been accepted by his brothers, he would have stayed where he was, never reaching the palace that awaited him. In the same way, every no you've faced was a "not here, not yet," whispered by something wiser than you. Rejection hurts because it challenges your illusion of control. You think you've lost something, but often you've just been spared something that wasn't meant to stay. The Stoic doesn't beg for doors to reopen. He stands still and listens for the new direction. Sometimes the ones who reject you are only showing their limits, not yours. They can't see your depth because they haven't faced their own. Some people don't leave to hurt you, but they leave to reveal you. Rejection just shows where your energy no longer belongs. And when they walk away, they reveal what you needed to know, that your peace was never meant to depend on them. So when a door closes, don't stand there bleeding. Turn, walk forward. Let every no refine your vision, because rejection is not subtraction, it's correction. It's life carving away what doesn't align with who you're becoming. One day you'll look back and see the pattern. Every goodbye was an invitation. Every closed door was a compass. Every loss was a hidden form of guidance. Rejection isn't life saying you're not enough. It's life saying you're meant for somewhere higher. The breaking before becoming. Everything great begins with a break. The world calls it failure. The Stoics called it formation. Because life doesn't sculpt you with comfort. It shapes you with collapse. You lose what you thought you couldn't live without. You fall to your knees wondering why everything good slipped away. It's okay to tremble there for a while. Strength doesn't mean standing fast. It means standing again. But that fall isn't destruction. It's initiation. The man who's never been broken has never met his real strength. Pain doesn't arrive to punish. It arrives to purify, to burn off the ego, the pride, the lies you told yourself about who you are. It tears away the false skin of identity until only what's real remains. Steady, unshakable, calm. You'll curse it at first, you'll beg for the easy way back, but nothing grows in comfort. The Stoics knew this. The soul expands only through resistance. Comfort teaches you nothing. Chaos introduces you to yourself. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." Every hardship you face is the gym of your soul, training you for a higher way to peace. There will be nights when you stare at the ceiling and whisper, "Why me?" And silence will answer back, because it's your turn to grow. You'll look at your life and see ashes, but hidden beneath the wreckage is the blueprint of your rebirth. breathe the smoke of what used to be you, so that's the scent of rebirth. Every collapse is an invitation to rebuild without illusion. Every heartbreak is life removing what your strength can no longer carry. Don't rush the breaking. Don't demand quick healing. Let life take what it needs to, because if it's leaving, it's because it can't follow you where you're going. Gold is refined by fire. Diamonds are born under pressure. You are no different. The parts of you that survive the breaking are the ones built to last. And when the noise finally dies, when the tears dry and the storm ends, you'll notice something quietly miraculous. You've stopped breaking over the same things. That's not numbness. That's evolution. Pain was never your enemy. It was your initiation into peace. It came to burn away the version of you that thought strength meant control and left behind the one who knows strength means surrender. One day you'll look back and realize you weren't being punished. You were being rebuilt. Pause for a moment. You've carried so much just to stand again. This isn't the end. It's the stillness before your rise. You weren't losing your life. You were shedding your skin. And that's how every man becomes unbreakable. Not by avoiding the fire, but by learning to walk through it and call it home. If you're walking through that fire right now, don't do it in silence. Comment below with one line that's keeping you standing. And if this message reminds you of your own rise like the video, it helps the message reach one more soul who needs it. And while the world keeps moving loud, your quiet rebuild begins. The silent preparation. While everyone else chases recognition, you disappear. Not because you quit, because you were preparing. You move in silence, rebuild your mind, sharpen your focus. No announcements, no applause, just consistency. This is the season no one talks about. The quiet years that shape every great man. The Stoics lived for this space. When the world shouted for validation, they practiced invisibility. Because they knew what's unseen is what lasts. In silence, you start hearing what matters. You start choosing what deserves your energy. You start realizing that noise isn't progress, it's escape. While others rush, you wait. While they seek comfort, you build capacity. And though no one sees it, you feel it. The quiet growth, the unseen strength, the discipline becoming nature. The silence isn't empty, it's loaded. Every quiet day is stacking unseen power. You don't see the growth yet, but silence is your heaviest training weight. Every lonely morning, every late night reflection, every small promise you kept to yourself. These are not wasted moments. They are the forge of character. People will ask where you've gone. They'll think you've lost momentum. But the truth is you've left the stage to master the craft. You're not hiding, you're evolving. When the world finally sees you again, they'll call it overnight success. But you'll know it took years of unseen work, 1,000 quiet choices, and the discipline to stay when everyone else ran. That's the paradox of strength. The louder your purpose becomes, the quieter your preparation must be. And in that silence, you don't lose yourself. You finally meet yourself. The enemy only fights the dangerous. If life feels unfairly hard, that's not proof you're cursed. It's proof you're chosen. Weak trees don't face the wind. Strong ones do. The storm doesn't waste its power on what's already broken. It hits what still has a chance to stand. You've wondered why you've had to fight for everything, for peace, for love, for a sense of meaning. You've looked at others and thought, why is it easier for them? It's not easier, it's just that their mission is smaller. The heavier the calling, the heavier the resistance. The Stoics understood this perfectly. They didn't fear adversity, they trained for it. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the obstacle doesn't block the path, it is the path. To the Stoics, adversity was never an interruption, it was instruction. meaning every challenge that appears isn't punishment, it's preparation. When you stop asking, why me, and start asking, what strength is this shaping in me, everything changes. You stop reacting. You start responding. You stop being the victim. You become the vessel. Every betrayal is sharpening your intuition. Every delay is teaching you patience. Every loss is training your detachment. The enemy isn't trying to destroy you. He's testing if you're real. Don't curse the fight. Study it. Don't avoid the weight. Lift it. Because pressure is a signature of potential. The world doesn't test the irrelevant. If your life has been a battlefield, it's because your soul carries power. So instead of asking for ease, ask for endurance. Instead of running from challenge, rise through it. Because every hit you take is confirming your purpose. You're not being punished, you're being proven. Maybe this was never about being strong at all. Maybe it was about learning to be kahinadipam and still survive. Isolation before elevation. Every rise begins with a retreat, but here's what no one tells you. Silence isn't rest. It's resistance training for your spirit. Before you step into power, Wayne will pull you into silence. Before clarity, there's confusion. Before elevation, there's isolation. It's the rule no one tells you. To carry something higher, you must first be emptied of what's lower. That's why the world feels quiet right now. It's not ignoring you, it's preparing you. Moses had the desert. David had the cave. Marcus had the journal he wrote to himself under candlelight. That journal became meditations, proof that even emperors need solitude to master themselves. Every great transformation starts away from the crowd. You'll try to rush it. You'll wonder why doors stay closed. But the silence isn't punishment. It's calibration. Life is aligning your spirit before it elevates your position. In this season, no one claps for you. No one notices your growth. You wake up, work, reflect, repeat. It's mundane, invisible, endless, but it's exactly what refines you. There's a loneliness that bites, but that bite is medicine. Isolation teaches what comfort never can. Patience without bitterness, confidence without applause, and faith without evidence. Some days you'll question everything. You'll look at the world moving ahead and wonder if you've fallen behind. But what you're really doing is building a foundation deep enough to hold what's coming next. Roots always grow in darkness before they rise toward light. Use this silence wisely. Train your focus. Learn to listen more than you speak. Let solitude become your teacher, not your sentence. Because the man who's grounded in solitude can't be shaken by noise. The Stoics warned, you cannot lead others if you're still enslaved by your own noise. So solitude comes first, not to punish, but to purify. And one day when the silence ends and the doors finally open, you'll walk through with quiet power. Not desperate, not loud, just ready. You'll notice how still your spirit has become, how little chaos can move you now. And you'll realize the time you thought you were being forgotten was the very time you were being forged. Because isolation isn't absence, it's preparation. And when the world finally sees you again, you won't need to prove anything. Your presence will say it all. And when you finally stop running, something wild happens. Peace stops feeling boring. The crown of clarity, it doesn't happen with noise. It happens in the quiet. That moment you stop trying to fix everything and simply let it be. You stop arguing with the past. You stop chasing control. You breathe. And for the first time, peace stops feeling boring. That's what clarity really is. Not an answer, but the end of confusion. It's the calm that arrives when you finally stop fighting what already is. You no longer rush to respond or rush to prove. You stop performing for people who never really saw you. You realize peace was never missing. It was only buried. The Stoics taught that the wise man owns nothing but his mind. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That's the freedom no wealth, no applause, no love can buy. The ability to stay composed when the world trembles. You start seeing through everything, through flattery that once fooled you, through emotions that used to control you, through pain that once dictated your pace. Clarity gives you a new kind of vision. You see people not for who they pretend to be, but for what they consistently choose to do. Clarity doesn't change what you see, it changes what you tolerate. That's how peace quietly edits your life. And here's the irony. When you stop chasing validation, you finally attract respect. When you stop fighting for control, you finally gain it. That's the quiet reward of understanding. You no longer need to win to feel complete. At first, this calm will feel foreign. You'll question it, waiting for chaos to return. But it won't, because peace, once earned, doesn't scream for attention. It just stays, like a steady pulse beneath the noise. The Stoics called this the true victory, not triumph over others, but mastery over reaction. When insults don't shake you, when loss doesn't define you, when success doesn't inflate you, that's when you know you've worn the invisible crown. People might call you distant, detached, too calm for the chaos around you. But that's fine. They haven't met this kind of clarity yet. You no longer live for their approval. You live in alignment. You begin to understand that pain was never a curse. It was the teacher that trained your mind to stay still. That silence was never absence. It was preparation for presence. That loss was never rejection. It was redirection back to yourself. And when you finally stand in that state, not forcing, not fearing, you feel what freedom truly means. It's not rising above others, it's rising above reaction. That's the crown of clarity. It doesn't glitter, it glows. It doesn't shout, it steadies. It's not worn on your head, it lives in your mind. And once you wear that crown, life no longer feels like a race. It feels like alignment. The rise of the set apart. You were never meant to blend in. Everything about you, the loneliness, the pain, the silence, was training. Life separated you not to make you smaller, but to make you sovereign. That sovereignty isn't magic. It's discipline done alone when no one's clapping. The world teaches belonging. Wisdom teaches becoming. You've spent years being reshaped, refined, rebuilt from the inside out. And now you walk differently, calm where others panic, still where others seek noise. You don't need revenge anymore. You don't need validation. You no longer chase things that drain your soul just to look alive. You have outgrown the performance of strength and learned the presence of peace. And that peace isn't meant to keep you apart. It's meant to help you walk among others without losing yourself. The Stoics lived for this moment, the return of reason after the storm of passion. To stand unshaken, to choose your response, to meet chaos with grace. That's the mark of a man who's mastered himself. Your old self died in the silence. Your new self walks in light. You no longer need to be understood because you finally understand. Every battle made you deliberate. Every heartbreak made you human. Every loss made you lighter. And all of it, every step, every scar, brought you here. Now you walk, not to be seen, but to see clearly, not to conquer, but to contribute, not to prove you're chosen, but to live as if you already are. Because the man who's been through everything no longer seeks control, he embodies it. You don't wait for permission anymore. You've already been set apart, and that's the moment every chosen one rises, not above others, but beyond himself. Remember the silence you once feared, the rejection you thought would break you? Those were never detours, they were the design. There comes a moment when everything you've learned stops being theory and becomes who you are. You no longer quote strength, you live it. You no longer chase meaning, you move with it. You've walked through silence, rejection, confusion, and fire, and you're still here. Not bitter, not broken, just clear. That's the quiet miracle of the chosen. They survive what was designed to humble them. The world will never understand your path because it wasn't built for them. It was built to awaken you, to make you unshakable, to show you what power looks like when it's born from peace, not pride. The Stoics called this eudaimonia, the flourishing of a soul aligned with virtue. It's not loud, it's not showy, it's the kind of strength that no applause can measure because it comes from within. You were set apart so you could learn what few ever do. That strength isn't loud, it's consistent. That faith isn't blind, it's disciplined. That purpose isn't found, it's forged. So walk forward, not as the one who needs to prove anything, but as the one who has already become everything he was meant to be. Carry your silence like armor, carry your scars like scripture, and carry your peace like a crown. Because this, right here, is the end of the breaking and the beginning of the becoming. When others look at you and see calm, they won't realize that calm was carved from chaos. When they see your stillness, they won't know how many storms it took to earn it. But you'll know, and that's enough. You've learned what few ever dare to walk alone without feeling lonely, to be kind without needing credit, to rise without shouting. If this journey reminded you of who you truly are, stay with us. Subscribe, share this message, and let's keep building a world of men who rise in silence but live with peace. Now when you return to the world, you'll carry calm into the chaos, not to escape it, but to elevate it. This is the return of the chosen, not as the loud, not as the perfect, but as the quietly unshakable. Because the man who has met his silence, the man who has walked through the fire and kept his faith, is no longer chasing destiny. Destiny isn't found at the top of the mountain. It's forged in the silence you survived. He is destiny.